Hollow Knight is a game that requires precise inputs in order to defeat the game's many challenges. So what if we played the game in the least precise way possible? Can you beat Hollow Knight using only a mouse? The rules are simple. We will only be able to use actions mapped to the buttons on my mouse, with the exception of menuing to save time. For the controls, I went with left and right click to move in their respective directions, middle mouse for jump, and my 2 side buttons for every other action. Although for most of the game, these stayed as attack and either dash or healing. I also have my trusty Xbox controller, which will be used solely for navigating menus. With the basics out of the way, let's get into the challenge. The game starts the same as normal. We skip through all the lore, and get dropped into King's Pass. Even with a messed up control scheme, this area is no challenge. Make sure to pick up all the Geo on your way through here, as we're going to need it later. Also be sure to pick up the first charm, Fury of the Fallen, as it may help later. After collecting the charm, make your way out of King's Pass and drop down to Dirtmouth. Dirtmouth will be vital later, but for now there's nothing here, so ignore the elderly and make your way down the well into the Forgotten Crossroads. At this point, I decided to use a mouse input tracker to show that I wasn't cheating, as if that wasn't obvious enough from my horrible gameplay. Forgotten Crossroads is the game's first main area, and as such isn't very difficult even with a mouse. Just make your way around to Gruzmother while collecting Geo. Gruzmother was just as easy as always, putting up no challenge before dying. And with the murder of a pregnant woman under our belts, wake up Sly, and head back to the first stag station. Make sure to use some of that Geo you've been hoarding to open the first stag station. And once that's done, head up and collect the grub and begin the fight with the False Knight. Being the first boss, the False Knight is very easy, and you can just take his hits and take him down before he can do any real damage. Grab the city crest and the chest full of Geo, and make your way into the Snail Temple. Obtain late stage tuberculosis, and quickly destroy the mini-boss. From here, head into Green Path. So early into the run, platforming hasn't been that hard even with a mouse. But from Green Path onwards, platforming will become more and more difficult, starting with our first and only speedrunning skip for the run, Bug Pogo. Switch your side buttons to down and attack, lure the bug over, and pogo off him to skip 80% of Green Path. The reason this is the only skip we perform is that other skips such as Shade Skips and Explogo take a lot more precision, and I simply don't have that while using a mouse. Run all the way across the top of Green Path, murdering the Moss Knight. Save Zote only to leave him to die, and reach the second stag station. Just like last time, be sure to unlock the station. You don't need to use it yet, just buy it. Just outside the station is a Wanderer's Journal. Be sure to grab it before beginning the first fight with Silksong. Silksong is a far faster opponent than the False Knight, so take your time getting in hits when you feel safe. If you need, you can get a heal when she jumps and does her Silk Bowl attack, and when she's staggered. By using these openings and playing carefully, Silksong will go down easy. After successfully jorking it to Silksong, get jumped by the local coma patients, and grab the dash as your reward. From now on, the dash will replace the heal in the keybinds, only switching back to soul when we need to heal, effectively making this a no-spell run, as conserving soul for healing is much more important. With the dash unlocked, make your way through the Fog Canyon, down to the Fungal Wastes. Fungal Wastes is the most annoying area in the entire game, entirely because of these stupid bouncy mushrooms that you need to pogo off of. But before even getting to those, grab the stag station right at the entrance and begin making your way through. Be quick, as exploding mushroom spores will be shot at you repeatedly, dealing 2 masks of damage if they hit you. When reaching the mushroom arena, focus your attention on one mushroom at a time. This will stop you from getting overwhelmed by the goop they start to throw on the floor. Once through, grab the charm notch and continue making your way down into the Mantis village. If you're worried about dying, grab the bench just below, although you will have to deal with the annoying ass bouncing mushrooms. Once in the village, I recommend taking it slow, taking out the mantises one by one so you don't get ganged up on. Once obtaining the Mantis Claw, make your way back to the entrance of City of Tears. This is the first actually difficult parkour segment, but the Soul Totem and checkpoint midway through make it far more manageable. Once you make it through, insert the city crest and enter the City of Tears. City is probably the largest area in the whole game, but thankfully for now we only have to deal with one side of it. To start, make your way down to the Nailsmith and get the first upgrade to the Nails damage. Once getting the upgrade, make your way up to Soul Sanctum. Just be careful of the arena just before the bench. Get the bench for real this time and enter the Soul Sanctum. This area is full of these teleporting guys that are really annoying, so be sure to kill them before moving on, as they'll chase you down and beat you with their bowls. Thankfully, Soul Master is a pretty easy fight. He's slow and gives plenty of time to heal between attacks if you need to. Although, I found myself getting hit more times trying to switch controls mid-fight. When Soul Master enters his second phase, just dash back and forth until he takes a break, and then beat the shit out of him. With Soul Master dead, collect the second most useless spell this run, and head out of Soul Sanctum. Make sure to miss the grub and then have to run all the way around again to collect him. Once out of the Soul Sanctum, head up to the City Storeroom Stag Station, grabbing the simple key from the room below it. Before leaving, I would recommend selling some items we've been collecting to Lem for more Geo, as now we want to buy the Lantern, costing a massive 1800 Geo. If even after selling your relics you're still a bit short, head to the Grubfather to cash in on all the missing children you found. With the Lantern bought and wallet empty, head back into Forgotten Crossroads, ignore Myla, and head into Crystal Peaks. Once you're in Peaks, head straight for the main bench. Beat up the homeless man sleeping there, and take it for yourself. Peaks is a very straightforward area with only one path to its main item, so naturally I got lost for about 20 minutes before finally remembering where I'm meant to go. While running around like a loser, be sure to grab the shopkeep's key as it will be helpful later. The parkour to get to Crystal Heart may seem dangerous, but each individual jump really isn't that bad. The only hard part is the last section, where you have to do 3 to 4 jumps in a row. After completely destroying that parkour segment, collect the Crystal Dash and its grub roommate. We're not quite done with Peaks yet though. Make your way down to the Dark Room. Thankfully no longer dark since we bought Lantern. Get through this room ASAP, as the enemies in this room will make parkour harder the longer you're there. After the room, Crystal Dash to the other side of the cliff, and enter the completely optional Snail Temple. I thought I may end up using Descending Dark during the run, but I never ended up using it, so if you want you can completely skip this temple. If you do want to get Descending Dark, quickly run through the first 2 rooms ignoring the enemies. For the last large room, kill the flying crystal insect, and make your way up to Descending Dark. Once you've obtained an entirely useless power-up, jump down into the Resting Grounds. Once you make it into Resting Grounds, make your way over to the Dream Nail, meeting up with the Coma Patients. The Coma Patients will make you complete your mandatory parkour check, so jump for the Dream Nail and collect it. Once waking up with the nail, go complete the first Essence Route and pick up the most important charm. Next is Xeno. Xeno is stupid easy. All you have to do is jump up and hit him, and then run away to the edges of the arena when you have to heal, as he can't hit you there. You may ask, why bother fighting the Dream Warriors? Those aren't required to beat the game. And that's right. But I forgot to mention, we're going for the true ending. Every drop of essence is going to count, so be sure to complete the essence routes whenever you find one. After sucking out all of Xeno's essence, head back to the City of Tears and head down to the Royal Waterways. Once in, immediately run to the left until you reach the bench, then run all the way to the right. This path avoids pretty much every enemy and gets you to Dung Defender in seconds. Dung Defender himself is also pretty easy, as he has lots of openings and isn't very aggressive, giving you plenty of time to heal. Once he's buried in a pile of his own shit, steal its crest and restart the plumbing. This gives you access to the right side of City of Tears. At this point, I had a reasonable stockpile of Geo, so I went up to King Station and went back to Dirtmouth to buy some mask shards from Sly, grabbing the last one I need from the Queen Station Stag. After getting the first health upgrade, head back down the hole leading to Waterways and go deeper down, leading into the Ancient Basin. For the long room, I found it easier to just run and avoid the enemies, as trying to kill them just led to me falling. Once in Basin, make a beeline for the bench and Crystal Dash across the gap. The Morlocks are pretty easy to kill most of the time, as you can just stand next to them and attack them. For the one on the roof, just run past. Open up the shortcut and enter the fight with the Broken Vessel. Pretty much the only time to heal in this fight is during his stagger animation, so play carefully, and also watch out for the ghosts that start to appear, as they can waste your only times to heal. The ghosts can be completely countered by wearing Dung Defender's crest though. Other than that, this fight is pretty straightforward, so put your sibling out of their misery, and move on to collect the Monarch Wings. With wings collected, head to the Hidden Stag Station. And then realize there was a mistake in your routing, and now you're 150 Geo short, and need to run all the way back up the big tunnel. Make the most of running back up the big tunnel to collect Isma's Tear by looping back through Waterways. Be careful of the arena, as there's quite a few enemies. And after grabbing the Tear, head back to the King Station Stag and go into Kingdom's Edge. Kingdom's Edge is one of the most dangerous areas in the game, mainly because of these guys. But thankfully we're not here long. Run past all the enemies up to the tent bench, and prepare for the second fight with Silksong. This fight is harder than the last, but not by much. Her attacks are mostly the same, with the only new addition being the spiky balls she lays around the arena. Stay calm and heal when she's stunned, and you should get through this fight no problem. With Silksong successfully delayed until 30:45... Never mind.
Holy shit!
Stand up now and face the sun. Won't hide my tail or turn and run. It's time to do what must be done. Be a king when kingdom comes. So you can tell everybody. Yeah, you can tell everybody. Go ahead and tell everybody. I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the man. Well, you can tell everybody.
Collect the King's Brand and head back to King Station. With King's Brand in hand, make your way back down to Ancient Basin and go even deeper into the Void. For the Lighthouse room, run like your life depends on it, as the shades here deal 2 damage and will quickly gang up on you. Once at the top, turn on the Lighthouse and make your way over to collect the Shade Cloak. Buy Hidden Station for real this time, and make your way back to Fog Canyon. With all the game's mobility upgrades now onto your cloak, make quick work of the 3 Fog Canyon rooms, and begin the fight with Umu. This fight can be unreasonably hard, as you have to constantly be on your feet with almost no time to heal. But just keep at it, and the 1 cycle Umu is yours. With Umu defeated, go to the first Coma Victims Hospital room and pull their life support. From here, make your way to the left into Queen's Garden. Be careful when going through Queen's Gardens, as the Mantises can and will touch you. Make use of the multiple benches and make the long journey to Marmu's arena. Whatever you do, do not fight him. Instead, run past, as there is a bench just 1 room later. Then run back and fight him. Wamu is an interesting boss, as all he does is rush at you. There's no cheese strats here, just keep hitting him till he dies. Unlock the Queen's Garden Stag, and make your way back to the Fungal Wastes. Head into the Mantis Village, picking up Fragile Strength on the way, and taking out Eldahu. At this point in the game, the Mantis Lords are no issue, and defeating them gives the Mark of Pride, which is the charm I personally wore throughout the rest of this run. With the path open, make your way down into Deep Nest. Deep Nest is usually a reasonably difficult area, however with my pro gamer skills and this lamp we bought, it's really not that hard. Once reaching the hot springs, make your way up and fight Galleon. This fight can be hard, with almost no time to heal, as his scythes take up most of the arena. Just be ready to dash through his scythe, and the fight will be over quick. After the fight, continue going up until you reach the tram. Collect the tram pass, as it will be very important later. Continue through Deep Nest until reaching the Beast Den. The Beast Den is very short and not that dangerous, and after a minute or 2 you'll reach Hera. And after euthanizing Silksong's mum, you can leave the den and head to the Stag Station. If you've been following along and unlocking all of the Stag Stations, you should now have access to the Stag Nest. Go there and murder everyone's favourite ascending worm, Gorb. After ascending Gorb in a different kind of way, jump into King's Pass and head back to Dirtmouth. At this point we're reaching the endgame. There's only 2 soul bosses left, No Eyes and Markoth. No Eyes doesn't put up much of a fight, but Markoth is much trickier, as his spinning shields and daggers leave little chance to heal. It took me a few attempts before I was finally able to kill him. With all the soul warriors defeated, collect your rewards from the Seer, grab some Pale Ore, I went with the one in Ancient Basin and the Nosk fight, upgrade your nail, and head back to Forgotten Crossroads. The Forgotten Crossroads, now the Infected Crossroads, has quite a few useful upgrades to grab. Namely Mask Shards we couldn't get before, and Charm slots from Sabula. Here is also where we'll attempt the first Soul refight, the Failed Champion. Failed Champion is the exact same as False Knight, simply being faster and dealing more damage. He's really no issue to take out. After this, take out the other 2 Soul refights, Lost Kin and Soul Tyrant. Neither of these fights are very hard, although Soul Tyrant did take me a few tries. With these bosses defeated, head back to Deep Nest and use the tram to get to the Hive. The Hive isn't very long, and Hive Knight isn't very hard, so you should be able to get the Hive Blood Charm rather quickly. It's time to head back to Queen's Gardens and fight the Trader Lord. With all our upgrades, Trader Lord doesn't pose too much of a threat, however, there's no time to heal in this fight, so you need to be very careful, especially of his orange boomerang attack. With Trader Lord defeated, make your way to the White Lady and collect the first White Fragment. After that, go back to the Seer and receive the true Dream Nail. And now, there's no more putting it off. White Palace finally conquered, put on the King's Soul Charm, and head down for the last time into the void. Try to pick off the shades as you go, as they can be very dangerous. With the King's Soul now doing blackface, there's only one thing left to do before fighting the Hollow Knight. The scariest boss in the game. Watcher Knights. Before this fight even begins, use the chandelier to take out one of them permanently. Once actually in the fight, focus on one knight at a time and be sure to dash out of the way whenever they attack. There's only a small chance to heal in this fight between the waves of knights, so be conservative with your health. With the Watcher Knights defeated, you're free to put the final coma patient out of their misery, finally unsealing the Black Egg Temple. With the final fight at hand, spend all of your geo on upgrades, or just support your local map business. With all that done, enter the Black Egg Temple. For the final fight, these are the charms I decided to go with. There were definitely better charms I could have gone with, but I didn't feel like getting them and wanted this to be a challenge. With nothing else to do, break your siblings' chains, and begin the final battle. The Hollow Knight is quite fast, so take some time to learn his moves. Most of them can simply be jumped over or dashed through with proper timing. Keep wailing on him, healing during his stuns if need be. When he starts spinning goop at you, dash through and start beating him. Once he lets out a roar, he'll begin stabbing himself, giving you a great opportunity to heal or deal extra damage. At the halfway point of the fight, Silksong will dash in and hold the Hollow Knight in place. Take your opportunity to pull out the Dream Nail and beat him over the head with it. After using the Dream Nail, you'll end up in a new arena. Step up to the podium and challenge the true final boss, the Radiance. The Radiance is super deadly. Almost all of her attacks deal 2 masks, and she throws them out so rapidly that there often isn't a good time to heal. I would recommend getting in as much damage as you can when she uses her ball attack, playing it safe for her others. The best time to heal is between her Mega Laser Blasts, or when you see a gap in the swords you can fit through. Once the first phase is over, you're safe to heal as much as you want, as there's a small cutscene that plays between phases. Phase 2 is more of the same, although the Radiance can move around more, and you can fall from the platforms. The Radiance can also attack from off-screen, so be sure to always be near her so you don't get shot by an off-screen laser. Be very careful of her Giga Laser Beam, as if your Shadow Dash isn't recharged, you will take damage. Continue to play carefully as you did before, and after a grueling few minutes, the Radiance will take her leave flying up into the sky. Use all of your skills from the White Palace, take a victory lap, and strike the infection right at its source.